your room. You just get me going, oh. Anyway, sorry. Woo! Real people. I've got to get used to real people as well. I'm starting back at Nuffield tomorrow. I know, and it's grades, and it just feels very like, oh, people ones. So what we're doing this term is I thought I'd get back to looking at the body again. And so we're looking at hips today and ways of loosening them and strengthening them. I think for a happy body, really, you need to have a bit of both. You know, we're bipedal. That sounds like I know what I'm talking about. We've got two legs basically, and I don't know if you've ever done a mindful walk and just kind of had a look about how you actually walk. It's interesting and intriguing to, from the ground up, to feel how you walk and to feel how it hits the hips, whether or not the hip swing. So yeah, this lesson is all about just trying to loosen up this entire area and hopefully get the lower back feeling a lot better. You know, I'm just like the human guinea pig of postures really, that my back hurts, hips weak. I actually think it's the left up, but there's a whole pattern of things attached to it. So yeah, you've got to keep everything functional and working. So shall we lay down and make a start? Love it. So right, lie down, make yourself nice and comfortable. And you have to pretend that the laptop in the middle is one person, I think, so I don't know where to look. So beginning to just start to feel the ground behind you. And yeah, mentioning the hips and what we see as the hips. And it could mean many things to many people, the hip. I mean, the hip is, you could see it as the entire pelvis. You know, when you rest your hands on your hip, you're resting your hands on the pelvis, aren't you? So you've got the pelvic area itself. So I just want you just to take your awareness and sense and feel the pelvis. Sensing the width of it. Sensing the contents of it. Sensing the tailbone. And then if you could consider your legs themselves and where they meet the pelvis, where they go into the pelvis, that is actually a hip joint. So you've got the acetabulum, which is that lovely little round joint. And that is surrounded by cartilage. So just kind of think about the joint itself, where it actually is on the body. And then sensing the legs trailing out from the hips all the way down to the feet. And then we could bring our awareness into the lower back. Like I mentioned, sometimes you can feel pains in the back. It's actually coming possibly from the gut, which is a major muscle in the hip. So sense the lower back. And then how does the head, the shoulders, the arms, how do you recognize and sense and feel those today? Oh. So we're going to start a little bit of movement. We're going to start with Padangusthasana. So we're going to start with toes, giving them a wiggle. And then we could do the same with fingers. We start with extremities, so give the fingers a bit of a movement. And then we can scrunch the toes, scrunch the fingers as well. And then starting to circle your hands and circle your feet. And as you circle your hands and circle your feet, just notice if you feel that actually in the hips. Go all the way down feet. You know, we're built of muscles, they're built of bones, everything connects. You might feel that as a movement actually right on your hip joints. Have a little feel about that as well. So you can see what I'm saying about if you've got any maybe issues in the hip or in the lower back, it actually could be coming from your feet and how do you rest them into the floor. Maybe I should have done this as a foot class, but there you go. And then just let go of that movement completely. And we're just going to then bring the knees into the belly, just one by one if you want to. And then extending your feet towards the ceiling, the sky, wherever you are, and then bring them in towards your bottom. So we're moving then just into the knee joints. So again, sense and feel how you feel that movement. So I was practicing, we're looking for happy feelings, or feelings that you feel is interesting to experience as opposed to pain and joints crunching and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's drop the feet down just in front of your hips, so you've got the knees bent. And then pulling your right into the body. We're going to start just a circle. Just do the biggest circle you could possibly do, right knee. So keep the knee bent. And then let's just rest that right foot back into the floor and do the same left. So again, go whichever way you want. You might have got a favourable way, you might go another way. Challenge the brain, go where you don't normally go. So I know a lot of yoga teachers think about relaxing hips and talk about hip owners, but mobility really is as well. So the ability to move legs for me is really important, not just about stretching it. I think we spend a lot of emphasis in looking at stretching and flexibility. So this movement in itself is really using those muscles on the outer leg to move the knee. Okay, so let's rest our foot into the floor. And I want you to figure of eights this time. So picking up your right foot, see if you can draw number 8 with your right knee. And let the leg bone turn in, let the leg bone turn out of the thigh bone, I say. You could try doing versions. I did a of 8 on each side and go try and do one standing up now. Way, that's not very good. There you go. I can't do it standing on each side. It's standing. And then let's place the right down and we'll move to the left leg. So again, try and draw a figure of 8. Let the knee turn in, let the knee turn out, let the thigh bone turn in, let the thigh bone turn out. And then relaxing your feet into the floor. Widen your feet this time so that you're going to go into windscreen wipes. So go really wide, even off your mat, and then dropping your knees to the right, your left hip pickets up, and then bring your knees into centre, and then dropping both knees to the left. And I wouldn't push it at this time, although they never really push, but there's just about feeling lengthening of each hip, so into the waistline between and the thigh bone itself. And it'd be that after a few little repetitions, you tend to notice your knees dropping a little bit more, pulling freely. But don't push it, just notice if that is actually occurring because we are moving these muscles. So let's extend feet out just in front of us onto the floor and just again sense and feel how your legs are on the floor. And I want to do something a bit random, and this is something I've been doing like just on my own every night. Every night this week I've been on the floor watching films and just playing with, not playing with my hips, that sounds really random, but just doing bits to loosen them. And so if you could now just think about where your belly is, obviously, your belly button, and then scan out to the waist and then picture your ribs and the top of your pelvis. And you've got muscles there, either side of them. So the front of the body, you've got your psoas muscle. The back of your body, you've got your, oh, I completely forgot what it's called, quadratus lumborum. There you go. The QL is the one I'm interested in, the one at the back, and its function is to tip us from side to side. So what I'd like you to do is just start to think about the muscles on your right side. I'm going to stand up just to try and demonstrate this. So you want to imagine you're lying down. And you could isolate these muscles on your right. So you just start to squeeze them in if you can, and just feel if you could bring your right hip a little bit closer to your right pelvis. And you might even notice your right knee begins to bend, but slides up a little bit. And then relax it back down and do it again. So it's just these muscles on the right. Squeeze them in, feeling your right hip come up. And let your knee bend a little bit. And relax it off. And just do that a few times. So I'm just going to lie down, see if I can demonstrate the same thing. It's like trying to hooch your right hip towards your right armpit. You'll feel your left side lengthen, your left big toe kind of slide away a little bit. And then just really that side and see if you can do it opposite side. So it's like you're trying to push your left hip towards your left arm. And again, just relax it off and do it as time. So it's like, again, that little sensation of rise and release. So you might even feel your head going. You might feel your head turning a little bit towards your left. Is that hurting you a little bit? Okay. So like towards your left side. So you can, in essence, what's happening is a big tightening, and you're going to feel like a willingness for your head to turn towards that left side. And then relax it. And then, so then if you can maybe do one side at a time. So this is the muscles that really are used when you're walking to pick the hip up, to twist the hip. So thinking about bringing that hip up towards your right armpit. Right knee bends a little bit, maybe even feel your head turn towards the right, relaxing it, and then doing the same with the left, so picking the left hip, maybe turning your left head towards the shoulder if that starts to happen, and again relaxing it, and just see if you can get a sensation that you're walking, and even picturing that sensation of walking. And if you kind of get really acquainted with this, you can really think about sliding your heels in a little bit and let your knees turn out a little bit. You know, really picture you've got like a little invisible walking platform, you know, the floor at the bottom of your mat. And then let go and just let your hips relax into the floor. I find that a really, really strong thing to do. It really wakes up those muscles of the lower back. Just let your legs relax for a second. Take a really big deep breath. Exhale and let go. Okay. So from this place, I want you to roll over onto, I'd say any side. I've got onto my left side. And rest your head in your hand. You've got your knees together, your feet together. You all right? Okie dokie. I'm warm. Melting. We're not sunbathing. I hope you feel like you're sunbathing at home.
Trying to make
sorry. It was, I thought it was going to be cold, so I'm really pleased it's not. So you've got your feet together and your knees together and your hips kind of at your pelvis stacked. If you can just rest your hand on the back of your right hip, just almost keep it steady. And we're going to do another little bit of joy for these hips. So in essence, it's a clamshell. So we're going to keep the feet together, lifting up the right knee. So try not to tilt the pelvis back and then drop that knee back to rest on the left knee. So again, just doing that again, lifting up the right knee, keep the feet together, and then dropping the knee back down. So we're just doing 10. What I find interesting with this is what your left knee is doing on the floor. It's pushing into the floor, isn't it, to keep you steady. So you're actually getting a bit of a... One good thing I've learned about yoga over time is that sometimes the reason the muscles release is that there's sometimes there's effort going into the muscles that you don't think are working. So a little bit of a pandiculation. So you might start to feel some ease happening in that left thigh as it pushes into the floor to lift the right knee. And then I'd like you to lift the right knee up and then pick up the right foot. And then drop the right knee down towards the left knee, and then drop the right knee down onto the left, and then drop the right foot down. So pick up the right knee, pick up the right foot, drop the right knee, drop the right foot. So we're creating a little bit of a wave down through that right side. How's that feeling? Okay. Okay, so relax your knees together next, and we're going to take our head onto the floor, placing both hands out in front of you. I might demonstrate the same side with this head mask thing on. So you've got your hands in front of you, shoulders stacked, hands in front of your heart. I'd like you to start to slide your right hand along your left arm, beginning to roll out into a twist. Keep your knees facing where you started. So you're going to take the right across the chest to the right shoulder and out behind. I'm not going to turn my head off or push the microphone. So you just let your chest roll back, allow as much a shoulder and that right to rest into the floor. And then like knee, so keep it where it is, or to draw it in towards your belly. So you're just going to deepen sensations in that right hip. Okay, so then your right hand, place it on your right shoulder and slowly slide it across to the left. Rolling back onto your left side, re-stack the knees, and then you can slide your right hand all the way forward in front of you. And as you do that, straighten your right leg. And then take your right leg and sweep it behind you as you're reaching forward with your right hand. And then bringing yourself back into your starting position with hands stacked and knees stacked. Sliding your right hand open and out behind, so you're moving into twist, bringing your right knee into the belly. And then bringing your hand back to the heart, slide back over to the left, sliding it forward, re-stacking the knees. And then straighten your right leg, let the toes find the floor. And then as you do that, you're sliding your right hand all the way forwards. And as you do that, reach your right foot back. Keep the big toe on the floor if you can. And then bringing the knees back to stack, bringing the hands back together, open out into twist. And again, bringing the knee into the belly. You don't like that one? Okay, so keep your knees stacked maybe for that one and just go into the twist. Okay. Do you want to lay on your back then and open your arms and just let your knee roll to the other side? Okay. So in essence, when you're doing this, it's like a propeller. So you've, where are we? I'm in the twist, the knees are up, and then when you're sliding your hands together, you're reaching one foot back, so the other knee is bent. I'm just trying to demonstrate that standing up. So again, as you're coming into the twist, arm turns back, knee comes into belly. And then as you open back onto the side, the arm slides forward and the foot slides back. So again, keeping that hand up, keeping the foot on the floor. Is it aggravating things? Okay. Okay. So when you're ready, lay yourself back on your back. And again, just explore how the body feels. see how the body feels. Oh, sorry, I keep hitting that microphone. And just checking on your right side. Does it feel any different? So maybe stretch the legs out onto the floor, and again, have a good feel how the right side, the right shoulder, the right leg, the right hip, how are we feeling it? So moving on to your left side, and again, you've got your knees stacked and your feet together. And you've got your left hand just on the back of your left hip. Are you going to sit this one out again? Or maybe just some of it? Yeah. And then again, picking up your knee, keep the feet together. And then, so this idea about the hand is isolating the glute medius. If you roll back, you're going to be, the weight of the hip will pick the knee up. So keeping that hip relatively stacked, bring the knees back together. And again, lifting up the knee. And again, bring the knee back together. So again, it's basically tightening and releasing the muscles down that left side of the leg to lift the knee up away from the bottom knee. And then we're going to lift up the knee, pick up the foot, drop the knee, and drop the foot. That's it, making it into a wave. Pick up the knee, pick up the foot, drop the knee, drop the foot. Okay, and then relaxing the feet together. And then, you're going to do a different type of twist. Laying down with your, I need to not demonstrate this lying down, so I'll crush the headphones. So again, lying down with your hands in front of you, knees stacked, feet. So again, I'm not very good at levitating. So again, sliding then your left hand along the right arm, start to let the shoulder fall back. And again, take your gaze towards that hand. So I guess with that, there's a little bit too much torque on the pelvis. So again, I would lay on your back and I would go to windscreen wipe legs. And then taking the hand back, bringing that knee up a little bit closer to the belly if that is comfortable. And then sliding the hand back along the chest, back towards the opposite hand. And then if you wish, keeping that left foot on the floor, slide the foot behind you as you reach towards your left hand. And then bringing those knees back together, sliding back along, so coming back into twist. If it feels good, taking the left knee closer to the belly. And then taking the hand back along the chest, sliding the hand forwards. And again, if it's comfortable, slide the left foot all the way back. So you've kind of got a bit of a counter rotation all the way from the hips. Right. So the biggest thing for this is about just keeping your head relaxed on the floor. See it as a really beautiful kind of windmill. It's actually called propeller basement. So just see it as a propeller kind of with the opposites happening. So as your hand reaches forward, that foot reaches back, and as the hand reaches back, you come closer. So you've got that opposite kind of sensation down the body. You can see everybody online seems to be keeping up with this one. It's a pretty difficult one to kind of explain, particularly if I'm laying on the floor. Oh, you're doing a bit of somatics, I can see. Okay, so when you're ready, roll onto your back, and again, just check in on how the body feels and checking on that left side, the left hip, the left shoulder, the left ribs. How are we sensing and feeling that side of the body? So we are going to stand in a moment, but I'll just let you have a little rest first. So particularly if you're a bit wonky within the body, you might have noticed that one leg might have taken a bit more effort to do than the other. We tend to notice that as a bit of fatigue sometimes. Okay. So find a nice way over onto all fours, as opposed to a horrible way. Find the most excruciating way you can find to come over onto all fours. Not really. I don't know where to face now in this. Oh, I'll go this way. I've got a tendency to face this way. I don't know why. I'll face this way. Well, actually, I'm going to demonstrate with this leg, so I may as well face this way. All right, so we're going to move into cat-cow. So, yeah, we haven't really moved the upper back yet, have we? So I want you to firstly drop your belly and let your gaze just move forwards. And then imagine that just on your mat, you've got something that's going to run all the way down and right to the bottom of the mat, and you're going to follow it with your eyes, with your head, with your neck, with your spine. Drop your tailbone, look all the way to the space behind you. See if you can see it a little bit further. And then imagine it running back between your legs, between your arms, and it's going to run along the floor, up a wall. Maybe if you're in the garden, it's flying above your head. And then again, it's going to drop back down and go back down between your legs, and it's going to go as far as it can behind you. I don't know what it is that you're looking at. Picture whatever it is. Letting that movement go all the way through the spine. It's very easy sometimes when you're practicing these just to kind of think about, you know, part of the back, but I want you to use all of the back. And just notice what your hips are doing in order to facilitate this. So hopefully you're going to get a real good sense that your hips are moving to enable the spine to make these wonderful movements. And we don't always do functional things, like particularly if you're like, for example, if you drive in a car and you're looking over your shoulder, but the hips seem to be fixed in the seat, and we end up ruining our backs by trying to keep the hips steady as we strain to look over shoulders. It's really good to let everything be involved in the movement that you're trying to do. So as we're doing this movement, I want to bring in the knee if that is possible. So as you look down towards your belly button, look down towards that space behind you, take your right knee in, maybe bring it all the way in if you can. And then as you look along the floor and look up to the sky towards your ceiling, see, just take a foot up a little bit. Obviously, we're not going into extremes if it's painful. And again, bring it in. And again, exhale, taking the knee out behind, lifting it up a little bit if you want, taking the foot towards the ceiling, towards the sky. You can tell I've been inside for a long time, I keep saying ceiling. You know, the yoga teacher, we all say sky all the time, and you're like, you're in a room. I'm actually outside. And then let's place the right knee down, move swiftly to the left side to bring in the left knee in. As you look down between your knees, and the left knee again back a little, or a little bit higher than hips if you can. That's it. That looks really nice. You're keeping your spine nice and neutral. So yeah, it doesn't have to be like an arch of the spine. You can keep the belly nice and neutral if you want. You can just maybe extend the foot back and push the heel away, keep the pelvis neutral, and then bring the knee in and round if that is what you want to do. So I'm just pushing that leg back, keeping the heel, pushing the out for the sole of the foot, and just thinking about keeping the pelvis and ribs lined up. So again, the back's in neutral and then rounding. So that's another little way of practicing. So let's drop these feet down, widen out your knees, bring your big toes together and settle down, bring your bottom towards your heels, letting your belly nestle down between the thighs a little bit, walking your hands forward, maybe resting your head on your hands, maybe have your arms all the way stretched out in front of you. Let your hips begin to sink down to your heels. Just take your awareness into your belly and how you feel that belly. Let it massage the spine, let it massage the hips, let it massage the back. So looking at your hands, walking forwards into a little crouchy fold type thing. So your knees are bent, you've got your belly on your thighs, knees might be wide if that's comfortable. I don't want you to strain your back, really get your belly to rest on your thighs, let your legs do all the work, head relax forwards. That's it, lovely. Have a look at what are your feet doing? Do you have a tendency to let your arches fall? So I want you to lift up your toes, spread them out, and then think about beautiful footprints. So imagine that that your feet were wet on your mat. What would those footprints like? Have a little look down at your feet as you whilst you're here at arches and checking them. And then from here we're going to bend our knee a little, taking the bottom closer to heels. And then straighten your legs, come back to where you've just started, let your head relax down. And then again, bend your knees again, let your bottom come closer to heels. And again, relaxing down into full fold. So you might be coming all the way down into full crouch. It depends what your range of movement is, depends what your knees are saying. And that's sitting coming up. So using the legs really, but that's always a good thing. So let your legs and your hips do the work of pushing you to standing. We do a lot of standing up and using the back, don't we? So let your legs bring you to standing. Explore coming all the way down to fold if that is good for your knees. And explore coming up to standing again. I'm saying standing, I mean fold. Just keep the body as relaxed as you can. Imagine that this is like a rag doll. And then let's come into a full fold again. So keep belly relaxed on the thighs, to tailbone, and slowly piece yourself back to standing. You can see some shins. I no longer see shins. I can see lots of shins. Everybody's legs are on show. Right, what are we doing next? Oh, great. You'll love this. I love a chair. I used to hate chair. It was my least favourite posture. The teachers make us go into it and be like, oh, please, no. But I see the value of chairs. Again, good for your hips and your legs and stuff. So it's we're going to do a bit of a sun salutations chair. I've literally no way. I'm going to stare at these guys. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So standing at the front of your mat. I've got a circular mat because I've got fed up of knowing which way to stand. And have your feet in line with your hips. Sorry about your trousers. I did rake the grass before you started. And lift up your toes, spread your toes, drop them down. So you've got your knees facing forwards. And just lightly squeeze your heels together. Activating and feeling into your hips. Bringing your hands to heart. Exhale. Begin just to bend just your knees. So keep your pelvis nice and upright. And again, keeping that light squeeze on your heels. Check whether or not your spine's involved. So do you feel yourself lifting your ribs and pushing your pelvis back? And then straighten up your legs. And again, slowly release into your heels. And just do that a few times. Exhale, bend your knees, lightly squeezing your heels. And then inhale, coming back to standing and then releasing. Notice whether or not you have a tendency to drop into one of your feet. So I tend to find like my left's a little bit weaker than my right. So I'm just trying to get that sense that I'm using both legs equally. And back. And again, sensing down. We're going to hold this one. So bringing your hands wide, inhale and exhale, bring the hands towards the sky. Give your shoulders a bit of a wiggle, so don't let the arms be really rigid. Shoulders on the back. Tilting the pelvis forwards if you wish to go that little bit deeper. And as you do that, allow your knees to pull back over, hovering over the toes, so going that little bit deeper. So I don't know if that's going to be good for you, maybe going that little bit higher. slowly bring the hands. Again, we're going to just bend those legs a little bit more, bring your belly down to thighs and straighten out the legs into full fold. Exhale. Inhale, bring in your hand shins, walk your arms up to your knees and straighten your arms, looking down towards your toes, spine's nice and straight. Lovely. And then again, bend your knees and soften down into full fold. Walk yourself back to dog. So spread your hands, take your feet back as far as they want to go, push your hands forwards, reach your hips up and back. We're staying here for 5 breaths. So again, spread your hands. Keep those fingers energized and spreading and pushing forward. And actually with your hips, I just want you to tuck your tailbone down a little bit and you'll feel your lower back round. And then push your tailbone away and you'll feel your lower back begin to arch. And I want you just to find neutral through that positioning. So sometimes in our downward facing dog, we've got 2 things going on. One is an overarching of the lower back and one is an underarching of the lower back. I just want you to find neutral. And as you're doing that neutral, feel what your legs are doing. Are you having to bend your knees a little bit? So maybe have your knees bent. So from this place, take a look at your hands and I want you to step your right foot by your right hand, keep your right knee bent. And then push, stand up from there. Push with your right foot, stand up. I've lost myself now, I've not forgotten. We're going to move into a little balance. There we go. I'm going to fall over because I'm in my garden. But that's fine. We're going to step into tree. So pushing with your right foot, stepping your left foot closer to your right shin, bringing your hands to heart. Taking that foot a little bit higher if you wish. How's this? Inhale, bringing your hands up. And exhale, taking your left foot back. So stay on the ball of your left foot and bend your right knee. Inhale, raising your arms, moving into our warrior 1. So again, we've got that right knee bent, pushing back with the left heel. So bring your hands back to heart, step again back into your right foot, bring your left big toe just onto the floor in front of you, tap the floor. Bringing your hands out in front of you so you're holding a tray. Open out the arms and take your left foot out to the left. We'll keep your weight in your right foot, so keep your right knee bent. Bring your hands back to heart. And then take your left foot back behind you, keeping your weight in your right foot again. Open your arms out like wings and take your left foot behind you and to the right. Inhale, bringing yourself back to start with your left big toe on the floor. Exhale, bringing the hands out in front of you like you're holding a tray, stepping your left foot out, keeping that weight in the right foot. Bringing the hands back to heart, taking the left foot behind. Open out the arms like wings, take the left foot out and behind to the right. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Whoops, the days have gone too far. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Step your feet together. Rest. And we're going to move back down towards downward facing dog. So placing your hand down on the floor, walk your feet back. And again, have a little play with your hips. Push the hips back, tuck the tailbone under again. Feel what's happening in your lower back. So again, just wiggle. And again, find what feels neutral. So that neutral, you're going to feel like a lengthening through your tummy, but also a lengthening through your back. Keep your palms spread, pushing from the fingers. Feel the energy from that push, finding its way to the hips and all the way to the heels. So look into your left hand, step your left foot forward. Again, bend your left knee and push to standing. Find that lovely push. There we go, and then step. Woo! Foot towards shin, putting towards tree pose. That's it. So again, if you want to ground the foot some way, ground the foot some way. Hands come into heart. Bring your right foot back. Keep that left knee at the front of the mat. And again, bend your left knee. Keep your right knee bent, and again, you're pushing back with that heel. So you want to be on the ball of the foot. So if you can bring maybe the falling over heel and ball of the foot kind of into alignment. So you're going to keep pushing the ball of the foot back and dip the knee a little bit towards floor. Keep your pelvis nice and upright. Inhale, bringing the hands towards the sky. Exhale. So again, wide shoulders. Think about your shoulders being on the back. Try not to crush. And what are your ribs doing? Are we pushing them forwards? Are we extending? Are we dropping into that lower back? Can we hug them in, keeping that lower back nice and lengthened? What's your left foot doing? Are you dropping again into the heel? Can we just think about squeezing that left heel slightly to the center of your mat? And then bringing your hands down, we're going to step in. And then bringing your hands out as though you're holding a tray. Step your right foot out, keep that left knee bent. Bring your hands to heart with an inhale, step it back. And then open out like wings, taking the right foot behind the left. Inhale. Exhale. Oh, wrong way. Inhale. I'm getting myself all confused with this one. And exhale. Bring your feet back. And again, walking yourself down into your downward facing dog. So come down onto your knees and we're going to do something on the floor. I want to do a lunge, but actually I thought it might be more beneficial to go through Sphinx and Cobra before we get into the lunge because it's all using the same group of muscles. And it also then gives you an opportunity to not do the lunge, particularly if your back's having a time. Is your back all right? Okay, so come down to your front. I'll face this way this time. Yay. Elbows wide and just try it onto your hands. Is that all right on your back? Do you need to put anything underneath your hips? No, but sometimes you can feel a bit of a like ouch when you're laying on your belly, but I just wondered if because you're on the uneven ground it wouldn't be so bad. Okay, so you've got your forehead on your hands and just let everything melt. And one good thing about being on your belly is you can really feel your belly. Well, obviously you can, but you can feel your breath in your belly and what's happening in your lower back. You've got a widening and a softening, almost like you can feel your back extending and rounding. So like extension is when you do a back bend. If you were to lift your head up off the floor right now, you'd be going into a back extension. The flexion is going the other way, trying to look towards your button. So just feel as you breathe in what you can feel in that lower back. Now, can you feel like a slight rounding of the back when you take a big deep in breath? Can you feel a big, like, almost like back bend appearing around your belly button as you take an out breath? So just let your belly push down into the floor and shrink back into you. You can feel it spreading into your ribs and into your underarms. From this place, your arms out in front of you and just lift your head a little bit to look to your hands. I might just turn this way so you can see it. And very carefully, I don't need to bring your elbows out that way because that'll do nothing. I want you to start to bring them in towards your armpits. So just starting to slowly lift your chest up off the floor. So I want you to walk them into comfort, really. So I don't want you to kind of go into the deepest ever back bend you've ever had. And then just tune in again to your breath and how you feel it. So take that big deep in breath and I can see some nice movement actually. It might be that this might feel aggressive in this position, so you might have to walk elbows a little bit forward. So again, you've got to be mindful of what you're feeling. So just taking that awareness into your belly and again into your spine. I'm just going to look a bit closer. You guys have got this sorted here. That's it. Trying to see if I can see your back moving. So you're taking a breath into you. As you're breathing inwards, you should feel your ribs rounding. And as you're breathing out, feel your chest coming forward. And your arms on the floor, so you're breathing in. And as you're breathing out, feeling your chest coming forward. It might be there's very little movement in your head. It might be that you start to naturally lift your head as you do this. So what you're feeling here is your ribs. Your ribs are round. Each time you're taking an in-breath, your ribs are rounding. And each time you take an out-breath, those ribs are coming back towards each other. So I can see that most of us got that sensation that the movement starts at your belly button almost. So looking down towards your belly button as you're breathing in. And then as you're breathing out, start to let your gaze forwards, lifting your chin. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. You might even feel your hips lifting off the floor with this. Doing this is in some muscles, again, I mentioned your QL at the back, your psoas muscle, getting a really beautiful inner massage. So if you wish to go a little bit deeper with this, we can place our hands down onto the floor in line with nipples, with elbows back, forehead on the floor. Roll your shoulders a little bit. Plant them on the back. And then push into your hands. Keep looking down at your chest as you do this and take an inhale. And as you exhale, just let your forehead come back on floor. Slide your forehead forward, slide your nose, slide your chin, lift the head and raise up into your cobra. Just keep the neck lengthened, keep your chin tucked in as you lift up. And then as you come back down, drop the forehead, the nose, take an inhale, push into your hands. And then as you exhale, drop your forehead, slide your nose, slide your chin, look forward, rise up. And again, exhale, come back down. Inhale, looking down towards your chest, push into your hands, lift your head slightly, forehead lifted up a little bit. Exhale, relax down, forehead comes to the floor, brush the nose, brush the chin, rise up. And then do it one more time. Push into your hands now and come back into child's pose. So sink that down. And again, keep your hands at the front of the mat if that's where they need to be. So let your hips come down to heels. So let's come back up onto all fours for this next one. So we're going to do a lunge. So I kind of thought that was an important thing to do before I went lunge, because when you're doing a lunge, this whole front line of body is getting opened up, and I thought that Sphinx. If you don't want to go into lunge, I thought that maybe the Sphinx might be a nice thing for you to do to release that area without kind of going too crazy into that pelvic area. So let's pick a side. So I'm going to step my right foot by my right hand. And I'm doing this firstly with my knee over my hip over my knee. So granted, we've all got not all got the same arms and same legs. If you find that you're struggling to reach the floor, go wide and put your hands on the inside edge of your leg. And then from there, explore taking your left knee back. So you're going to start taking that left knee away from your hips and let your hips come floor. So you're getting that alignment thing going on there. So you're just thinking, maybe not. And I want to stay here for a little bit, actually. So explore, take your bottom back over your heel, towards your heel, and then bringing your hips towards the floor. So just kind of moving into that lunge. Let your hands take the weight of the shoulders and start to settle in. We're going to stay here for about 15 breaths. So find support through your hands. And let go. I just thought of another way you could do that, actually. So if you want to move onto your back and hold your other knee in, that might be quite nice. Yeah. Okay. So just as long as that left knee is that little bit behind the left hip, and you can feel that sense of length. And again, just checking that your lower back is lengthened, that we're not overarching. Let right foot kind of carry the weight of the knee. And then let's move ourselves back into child's pose. So bring the knee back under. I just had a little thought what you could do actually is if you want to place your jumper underneath your hips, that would give you that little bit of a lift in your pelvis if you want to do something. Bring your knees together this time and let your belly support your thighs. So get that round in the thigh. We've gone the other way this time. And then let's go the other way. So bring yourself forward to get onto all fours. And left foot goes by the left hand. And so you've got your knee underneath your hip to start with. And again, feel like your back will be rounded at this point. And then as you take that knee further and further back, you're going to feel that lower back beginning to lengthen out. So you've got and check whether or not you need to have your hands inside the leg or on the outside edge of the leg, foot pointing forward. Starting to let your hips relax the floor. And again, we can here for about 15 breaths, about a minute. And taking the knee back under the body, again, relax and settle in. So should we move over onto backs now? So taking yourself onto your back. I don't know why I've just repeated myself. Can you guys see me at home? My son's gone behind a tree. Okay. So you're on your back. We're going to just do a few little bridges and then end with the pigeon on back. So feet in line with your hips, so in line with the hip joint. From the floor, heels on the floor. Your heels underneath your kneecaps and down by your side. Before going up the bridge, I want you to, without moving your feet, try to pull your heels into your bottom, and this is going to roll your pelvis. You're going to feel lower back beginning to arch off the floor. And then, without moving your feet, try to push them forwards and allow your pelvis to drop down, allow your back to drop down, and just keep pushing down into the floor. Feel your knees going forwards and let your pelvis pick up and your spine rolling up to bridge. On the feet. So as you notice your big toe, your little toe, all of the foot, heel of the foot. Where are your knees pointing forward? Can you feel your roots are working? And then whenever you want to come back down, just notice that it's your legs slowly relax. And then put heels into your bottom. Allow that leg to lift. So get a beautiful wave up spine. And then again, pushing down in feet. Push it forwards, see how the pelvis picks itself up, moving into your bridge. Again, softening down. And at your own pace, just feel that little of the heels handles the pelvis. It might just be not going to do the bridge if you do just as an alternative, just come in a bit of an arch and flatten what you're doing, somatic movements, pull the heels in, feel the pelvis roll forward. And just push it forward a little bit. Feel that lower back drop in floor. In fact, I would encourage that even if you go into the bridge, just to mix it up a little and to go and do that every now and again. Doesn't mean the cogs of the spine doing the wonderful things. Going up if you need to. And coming down whenever you're ready. So just mixing it up a little bit, going into a little arch and flatter. So tailbone rolls forwards, back arches, and then just letting the lower back go into the floor a few times. And then whenever you're ready, if you want to go up into bridge. Again, just trying to keep those knees nice and steady, keeping those heels working, toes working, feeling the strength of your feet all the way into your hamstrings, into your, pushing up into the bones. Noticing when it gets towards your neck. So obviously if you're in that bridge pose and you're happy, you can stay there if you wish. You can do all sorts of fancy pants things. You could maybe use your right foot a little bit more, push your right foot a little bit and let your left foot come light and lift your left foot up. Maybe put toe towards the ceiling, to the sky. Maybe you don't, I don't know. And then bring that left foot down. And then you can push that a little bit more. Push, 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 so that you can start to let your right big toe cross the floor and maybe lift your right up. Maybe going to go anywhere near that. Just play with that as a motion for a little bit, pointing the toe to the ceiling if you are going to do that. Slow with control. And if you're doing that and you feel quite comfortable with that, maybe explore crossing the right leg or the left leg onto the opposite side. So like you'd be sitting in a chair with your leg crossed. And then switching legs. And then let's slowly into earth, and from this position, take your right foot onto your thigh. And then take your left leg in for coming into reclining pigeon. So let the lower back relax into the floor. Angling that left leg closer and closer in, and exploring releasing the right thigh. Lovely. So drop your left foot onto the floor. Push your right leg a little bit further so your thighs are completely chin. So you've got your legs crossed. And then your right hand, drop it out at shoulder height and then slide it towards the space behind you. So your elbow on the floor, you've got your back of your hand on the floor. And then all we're going to do is just begin to sway the knees from left to right. So rolling across the back of the pelvis. And start to let your knees go to the left. So moving into a bit of a twist. Keep your right hand, if you can, on the floor, maybe a little bit wider. Turn your gaze towards right shoulder. Oh, I can see some others have uncrossed legs. That's fantastic. So if you've got, obviously, if you've got things going in your hips, it might be better to have your legs uncrossed. But if it could just be that it's been lost in transition that you can have your legs crossed. That's way of doing it. But yeah, knee back might better. So allow yourself just to rest in this position with your legs to the left and your gaze right with your right hand on the floor. And all I want you to do now is slide your right hand as far as you can away from you. Feel the arms straighten. Imagine that you really, 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 really want something that's on the floor just behind you to the right. And then keep the arm nice and stretched and energized. But then we're going to use the shoulder. I'm just going to come up to this. I'm going to sit up to do this. So you're reaching back with your right hand, and then I want you to pull the shoulder down the back. So you're reaching up and then pull the shoulder down the back. Keep the arm energized. And then exhale. Let's see if we can bring those legs a little bit deeper to the left. And then relax. Bring yourself to center. Take your arm down by your side and your hips. Relax into floor. And just for a moment, extend your legs. And again, just sense and feel the ground behind the body. Step feet back in front of you. We're going to move into pigeon on the left side, crossing your left foot onto your right knee. And then take that leg into the body. Hands behind your left right foot, and again begin to draw the leg in towards you for a hug. And again, we're staying here just for 15 breaths or so. So again, just start to let that lower back begin to relax, let your belly relax. So send the right foot back down on floor. And if it's comfortable to do so, cross the left leg completely right. So again, we're going to move into a twist. And taking it out at shoulder height. And then slide your left hand again towards the space behind your head. So back of the hand on the floor, elbow on the floor. And then from here, we just wave the knees from left to right. So let your pelvis, again, move in space. So you're going to be moving on right hip and then a little bit onto your left hip. So again, a little bit of a twist on either side of the waistline to split. Feeling how the ground moves beneath your feet. So if you've got your knees stacked, uncrossed, feeling that ground moving beneath your feet. And then start to let your knees fall to the right, pelvis roll to the right, looking towards your left armpit. And roll out of it again if that was comfortable. And again, let your knees fall to the right, looking just naturally to the left. And again, roll back onto your back if that is comfortable. And again, knees to the right, looking to the left. And stay in here if you want. And again, I did notice that some of us had legs crossed, some of us didn't have legs crossed. So again, make your legs feel comfortable. You don't want to feel any pulls into that lower back if that is something that you're trying to avoid. And then your left hand, again, we're going to do that weird little thing. So I just want you to imagine there's something on the floor behind you that you really want. You're going to stretch back as far as you can. Feel the arm straight and feel that shoulder blade slide at the back. Keep the arm really energized and then pull the shoulder down the back. And as you take an exhale, just let those knees go again a little bit deeper to the right. So it's like you're pressing back with that left hand and arm into the floor. And then let go. Just feel the ground behind the body. And then let's move on to backs. Again, just take yourself on into Shavasana. So arms by your side, knees bent if they want to be, legs straight if they want to be. And then just stay exactly where you are, feeling your breath. For our breath work today, it's just a visualization. I just want you to picture that you could breathe in through your right leg, through your right foot, sorry. And then just picture it's traveling up your leg, hip to your shoulder and down your hand. And then picturing that you could breathe in through your right hand, through your right shoulder, down through the hip to the knee and down and out through the right foot. Just repeating, breathing in through the right foot, travels to the knee, to the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and out through the fingers. Just picturing that again. Breathing in through fingers, to elbow, to shoulder, to hip, to knee, to foot. Breathing in through foot, and out through hand. And just picturing you could breathe in simultaneously through the right foot, through the right hand. Seeing that amount of energy flowing down through the body, crossing, and again, the breath that came through the hand leaves through the foot, the breath that came in through the foot leaves through the hand. And just repeating, breathing in through the foot, simultaneously through the hand. Again, to do that almost like a ball of energy, a ball of light flowing up through the body and out again. And just one more time. And then just for a moment, pause and just feel your breath in the centre of the body and just sense that right side and how you've witnessed it on the floor, on the ground. And then just picturing you could breathe in through your left hand, through the left, down the left shoulder, the left hip, the left knee, the left foot. And then you could breathe in through the left foot, past the knee, past the hip, past the shoulder, past the elbow, and out through the hand. So in through the hand and out through the foot. Just seeing that movement. And then just picturing again, as you breathe in through the foot, you can also breathe in through the hands. And you can just witness that movement of energy, that light almost, that glow, crossing through the body. And the breath that came in through the foot leaves through the hand, and the breath that came in through the hand leaves through the foot. And then just witness it again, just picture that movement of energy. And then we can just again witness our breath in the centre and then just picturing and sensing and feel left side of the body. And as we breathe again, we could even just witness that as a breath that travels around the body, and I'll just let you direct it. Maybe to the shoulder, maybe to the wrist. Maybe it's doing like a circuit of the body, I don't know. Just let your awareness be driven by what your mind is telling you. And then whenever you're ready, just bring that focus back to the nose. Just sense and feel the movement of the breath at the nose. I'm just going to stay here for 5 more breaths. And then we're going to find a way over to seated, or up to seated. I think you could see me, I went very dark. I'm going to end the recording and